Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the next part of our weekly Kaguya-sama Season 2 discussion video. Today we're going to be talking all about Episode 2, but before we get into that, I do want to give a big thank you to those of you who shared last week's video over on Twitter. At BubbleLubber, at HarrisonKVGC, at Matt87Eagle, at Sirius9752, at Janime, at AnimeFan3535, at DarkFirePlayer4, and at TheChillasN1. Thank you all so much for sharing last week's video over on Twitter, everybody. And if you too would like to have your name shouted out in next week's Kaguya-sama video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout your name out in next week's video. Okay, so this is the first time in a while that I have jumped onto the mic without really having any notes. Don't get me wrong, I still got my notebook and it has like the cast and crew and everything, but that's all I got. I didn't write down any notes. I didn't do any of that. And the reason for that is because I am like minutes away from recording doing the Isekaiwa podcast stream, which if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's on the channel right now. We go over spring anime as a whole, but because it's like mere minutes away, I'm recording this right now as I go. So I didn't write down any notes. I wanted to just jump on the mic right away. So if I'm a little bit scattershot this week, now you know why. But Kaguya-sama Season 2, Episode 2, it's obviously great. I will say that the issue I had last season is sort of kind of still here. There's some skits that really work, and then there's other skits that don't work as great, but still manage to land. We really only get two this week. Basically, we get the skit with Kaguya hanging out with Kei. That's Shirogane's sister. And we get Shirogane and Kaguya, actually no, we get three, sorry, I'm wrong. We get Shirogane and Kaguya hanging out, and Kaguya giving him his birthday present, which was cake. Although Hayasaka's idea was just wrap yourself in ribbon and say that you're his present, which honestly I think would have made Shirogane lose immediately, but then also would have made Kaguya lose, I guess, technically. I don't know. Regardless, there's that one, and then that's followed up later with a third, but they all sort of bleed together this week. This week's whole episode is essentially focused on Shirogane's birthday. So happy birthday to the boy. He deserves all the birthday wishes and well wishes. Can we get some birthday wishes for my boy in the chat, or I guess in the comments, since you're watching this as in the future after I record this. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's an interesting episode. I'd say it's not quite as funny as the premiere, but that's to be expected. The premiere had to come out of the gates swinging, and it absolutely did. I think here, the first skit is the one that I didn't find as funny as the other skits. But to dig it a little bit into the Kei skit, it's basically just sort of reminding you who Kei is, Shirogane's sister, who doesn't really have the best view of Shirogane. She doesn't see what a genuinely doting, kind big brother he is. She sort of sees him as like lazy and messy and all that shit, which obviously is a shock to Kaguya. Kaguya is kind of surprised by that, since her Shirogane is not like that at all. I would say the funniest bit of the episode is Kaguya starting to like pseudo fall for Kei, since Kei is a hell of a lot like Shirogane, even though she would never want to admit that. She is a hell of a lot like her brother. Like, from appearance-wise down to like the way that they act, all of it sort of makes Kaguya start to question her own sexuality at one point, which is kind of funny. And like, it's not even like she's questioning, she just starts to fall for Kei because of how much she's acting like her brother, that she just doesn't really think about it. And she's like, I love Shirogane, so I guess I love Kei too, I guess. It's genuinely kind of funny. But I do think the skit kind of drags a little bit. Kei comes off like kind of a brat at times. She does save a kid. Not so much, well, I mean, she does kind of save a kid. She like jumps in the way and protects the kid, but the kid ends up scraping their knee, and Kei patches them up right away. So like, Kei remains a good character to me, but she was being a little bit of a brat. Because Shirogane, like, she has a bad view of her brother. I think Shirogane is pretty rad, but that's just me. The only other thing I can think of from that skit that's really worth mentioning is they show my boy Hachiko. They show the Hachiko statue, and I love seeing it in anime. Every time it pops up, I'm like, oh, Hachiko, yay! But that's the only other thing. That part of the episode, it's still good, just not my favorite. Didn't really make me laugh out loud. Just sort of the like, like that kind of like, oh yeah, that's funny, like that kind of thing. Like it was genuinely funny, but it didn't get a actual laugh out of me. What did get a laugh out of me was the latter two skits, that being Kaguya talking not only to Shirogane and giving him like a slice of cake, and the fan, which the fan is friggin' adorable, but also the fact that she ends up having this sort of like inner debate on whether or not she loves Shirogane, and it sort of becomes the Meg song from Hercules, like, no chance, no way, I won't say no, like the whole, like, I won't say I'm in love scene from Hercules. It basically becomes that. It's downright adorable, and Shirogane basically fighting this, like, pessimistic, cold side of herself, and this lovey-dovey, fluffy side of herself, and the judge is the childlike version of herself. It's a bit of a mind bender. It's almost kind of like well, I was in Sun's stream for this. Like I was watching Sun's reaction for this, and people in the chat were saying it was very much like Ace Attorney, and it does have an Ace Attorney vibe. I would argue it actually has more of like a Danganronpa vibe, just the way that they're acting. The whole episode actually, like especially in the last skit, it felt very like, no, you're wrong, like the Danganronpa cut through the lies type thing. But it was kind of neat to see how Kaguya feels on the inside. And I think it's worth noting too that the pessimistic side of herself says, like, you really think that father would be okay with this? That father would just accept that you're dating this like common dude? And the lovey-dovey side of Kaguya says, like, of course I have a plan for that. I wouldn't just jump in without a plan. And I'm like, hold up. That has me thinking, like, I would like to see that actually happen. Are we actually going to get Shirogane and Kaguya dating before the series ends? I have a feeling the series will end with one of them confessing, but I'd love to see like an epilogue where we see said plan in action, because I genuinely want to see that. But that skit ends on a great note where Kaguya like turns off the lights and Shirogane's like, I hear clothes rustling, what the hell is happening? Like, because he has his eyes closed. He's like, okay. And then the lights go back up, and it's this adorable scene, like the cutest friggin' oh my god scene, where Kaguya gives him like a little slice of cake. She baked this huge cake, and Hayasaka's like, oh my god, what have you done? But she gives him a small slice of cake, and there's this great bit like, don't open the cupboard, because that's where the big cake is. And poor Shirogane's like, oh, yeah, okay. Like that little like, sure, yeah, whatever. But it's this cute little slice of cake in the fan, and they're both trying to hide the fact that they don't want to admit how happy they are at this. Like, Shirogane doesn't want to admit how flattered and honored he is that Kaguya would do that for him, and Kaguya's trying to keep it together and make it seem like this isn't a big deal for her, but really she's like dying inside. And it leads to the most adorable shit where she's like hiding outside of the club room door, just like trying to catch her breath. And Hayasaka's there to kind of comfort her, and Shirogane's just freaking out. It's adorable as hell. And of course, this eventually comes crashing down in the third arc, where that lovey-dovey scene is immediately undercut by the fact that they're so petty that they don't want to admit who likes who first. And it turns out that it was all a plan by Kaguya to try to get Chika into asking Shirogane if Shirogane is into Kaguya, because why does she know his birthday and not everybody else? And so it's this whole debate on like, no, I didn't tell Kaguya what my birthday is just because I wanted her and only her to celebrate it. She figured it out first. And if I remember correctly, that is what happened. That Kaguya was the one who figured out Shirogane's birthday, and he just never really brought it up because that's not his character to do so. But Kaguya is using that to spin lies and try to convince the rest of the club members to actually like get like to all ask like, are you into Kaguya? Are you into her? Are you into her? Because as soon as you get people asking those questions, you'll get flustered and be like, no, I mean, well, maybe, but like it's an easy win. And they even have like a little checkmate moment where Shirogane thinks of doing the same thing, but doesn't because he's a nice guy, but then regrets it later and immediately becomes not a nice guy. Because yes, Shirogane turns the tables saying, well, technically Kaguya figured that out, so why did she keep that from you guys? Maybe she is the one keeping secrets, and then everybody's like, oh shit, and by everybody, just me, Chika. But Chika's like, oh shit! And then Ishigami comes in and is just like the best boy. Like Ishigami comes in being the good lad that he is. He's like, oh, President, I see you're using the pen I got you. Right on. Happy birthday, by the way, blah, blah, blah. And then Chika is thrown under the bus by Kaguya going like, yeah, Chika, why didn't you remember Shirogane's birthday? That's not cool of you. And it's like, damn, everybody throwing best girl under the bus. But yeah, it was nice to see Ishigami kind of come in. I consider that an Ishigami win. Like they don't really say who wins that. They just say that Chika loses that round, but I consider that an Ishigami win as far as I'm concerned. Kaguya wins the first 2 rounds. I consider the end an Ishigami win myself. That's a win for Ishigami. I know he ain't playing, but like he's part of it. I would consider that a win for my boy. Other than that, I suppose the other thing worth mentioning in this week's episode is the ED, which we finally get to actually see, and it is super friggin' cute. I do think that I prefer the first ED more. Just because that felt a little bit more like fantastical and like, I mean, it was a dream, of course, so it was like they're like flying around and stuff like that. Like it was neat. They're still flying in the air in this one, but they're like riding on stars. Everybody's sort of like Kirby riding on like little pop stars and stuff. It's cute. I really, really like it. With Kaguya EDs, because I'm assuming we'll get a 3rd season, but with Kaguya EDs, what I want is just sort of like cute shit. Like I just want it to be a dream that Kaguya is having where she's allowed to be sort of like in her own head and lovey-dovey and fluffy, and just give us the closest we can get to actual shippy moments for Shirogane and Kaguya. Like get as close as you can and then have her wake up. Like that's what I want, and that's kind of what you get here. It's a really sort of fluffy and light ED, super freaking cute. The song's great, and while we're on the topic of audio, can we give my girl Aoi Koga some praise? Like again, I was in Sun's chat and they were saying that there, so kudos to Sun's viewers and Sun himself. But like everybody talking about how Aoi Koga deserves awards for her performance, and she really does. Like this episode in particular, she really runs the gambit of like different like personalities and characters, even though they're all still Kaguya, so they all have the same inflection, but it's in different tones, and it's just like she's fantastic. So my kudos to her. I think she absolutely is the star of this episode. With that said though, everybody, I am going to wrap up my thoughts here. Question of the day today: who do you consider to be the winner of the 3rd round skit? Like, who's the winner of the 3rd round of this episode? I'm saying Ishigami, but who do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And that's gonna do it for today's video, everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then by all means hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below is a great way to help out this channel, as it pleases the almighty YouTube algorithm. So if you choose to do so, kudos to you. And if you're feeling extra supportive today, you can go ahead and check out all the links in the description. One goes to my Twitter, another one is to our Discord server, another one to our merch store if you feel like grabbing yourself a mug, and of course, our Patreon page. And speaking of the Patreon page, I do want to give a big thank you to those of you in the T Squadron who support this channel month to month. Let's go ahead and do the Earl Grey shoutouts. Izevi, Andrew W, Branson C, Bria Rose, Calvin A, Crowbar of Irony, Daniel G, Digger the Fox, Dominic G, Emily, Ionos, Urza, Ginkotaku, Godzilla Fan, No For Nothing, Maria T, Marshall B, Mater, Mirth Mouser, Cell, Shadow Creative, Stephen G, Sakochi, The Suavest Orange, Tristan G, and Veridon. Thanks so much for your continued support over on Patreon, everybody, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then be sure to check out the first link in the description to check out our Patreon page. That is a huge way to support the channel. And again, be sure to check out the other stuff in the Discord as well. Go join our Discord. It is now public. You can all join. Everybody can hop in the Discord. Follow me on Twitter if you want me to ramble at you even more. And until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.